Hey YouTube, Longways Post 1975. Video response. Video response to the Happy Console Gamer. I'm pretty sure you know who the Happy Console Gamer is. You know, his massive channel, very much well deserved, awesome channel. The guy's so passionate about retro games, you know, it totally rubs off on you, it's infectious. And his latest video was the Genesis rocks, or obviously in the UK, the Megadrive rocks, well, in my case, the Japanese Megadrive rocks. Yeah, and he was sharing his experiences about, you know, when he grew up and how he was happy to grow up at that time. And, you know, getting a Genesis and the launch titles and the games and the experiences he has for it and the passion he has for it. And I've done tons of videos about why I had the Megadrive I had as a child, but quite frankly, I could talk forever about Megadrive. You know, it is pretty much gaming for me in my childhood. You know, it led on to different systems, but nothing has, you know, a place in my heart as much as the Megadrive. I mean, this is my Megadrive. It's my Japanese Megadrive. Side note, I would like to say I do actually have Genesis. I guess that's a knock-on effect of the love I have for the Megadrive. You know, at some point I felt the need to get a Genesis. Anyway, my story with the Megadrive is interesting. As I said, I've done a ton of videos on this. Most people who watch my channel might know this, but yeah, when I was a kid, my first system was a ZX Spectrum, which I loved. I absolutely loved the ZX Spectrum. You know, I wouldn't change that for the world. But the first system I bought myself, well, I paid for half of it, and then my parents put in the rest, and I got it for Christmas, was the Master System. In itself, an absolutely fantastic system. Now, it was like 1988, and I was reading a magazine, in the United Kingdom. This magazine is like the Holy Grail, computer and video games, and its sister spin-off, Mean Machines, and they said that Sega were going to enter the 16-bit era, you know, because obviously the NEC PC Engine was doing so well in Japan, and yeah, so Sega said, you know, we're gonna bring our home, you know, sorry, our arcade systems home. We're going to enter the 16-bit era, and we're going to release our own console, and that was the Mega Drive. And as a Sega fanboy, and I'll put my hand up and say I was a fanboy back in the day, I was just like, you know, I'm like 11, 12. I just remember opening this magazine and looking at it and just going like, no way, this is absolutely amazing. I need this system. I have to have this system. And then I read through all the text, and somewhere tucked away right in the bottom right hand corner it said, this system ain't coming to the UK until, I don't know, 1990. And I was like, no, what? No. The sky fell in, my world collapsed. I'm like, I can't wait till then. And so that was my quest. Did a little bit of research, because back in the day then, in the sort of black and white section of these magazines in the UK, we had what they called grey importers, where you could import these consoles. You know, you pay a premium price, and they were sort of modded to work on, you know, UK TVs and stuff. Badly modded to PAL, although I remember it said, CVG ran this article that said, don't grey import, it's wrong, you shouldn't do it, which I always thought was kind of ironic, because they had these adverts where you could do it. But then they did say, if you do though, you need a SCART wired machine. So the other side of the story is, because here's a SCART socket or a Euro socket, I didn't have a TV with this on the back, so I remember scouring like the second-hand electrical stores at the time, and selling my TV, and then buying a TV that had this, and it was only like a dodgy little 14-inch, you know, TV, but that was like, and I bought this even before I had any money to buy my Mega Drive, but you know, like, I was like, well, get the TV first, and yeah, that, like, the first stone was in place. And so then, you know, I started looking around, and you could import a Japanese Mega Drive in 1988, 89, my memory's a little bit fuzzy, for £180. with one game. And obviously, because the Japanese console did not come with a packed-in game, you could pick it. And so I got a load of part-time jobs, you know. Such was the need for me to have this system. I cannot explain how passionate and how much in love with the idea of having a 16-bit Sega I was. Yes, so I got part-time jobs. I mean, I worked for my dad in his garage on a Saturday morning anyway, you know, sweeping up and helping him with MOTs and stuff. But I got a job in a pub helping, you know, the cook and waiting on tables on a Friday night. Then I worked for my dad on a Saturday morning. Then on a Sunday afternoon, I washed up in the same pub I worked on a Friday. I mean, I wrote my entire weekend off, saving up for this console. And I remember, it was weird, one unboxer, random I know, was an empty VHS cassette tape box I had, and I kept my money in there. And you know how you get when you're a kid, but you know, it's so far away trying to get this holy grail of the money you need to pick up your console. I'd count it every night, and I kept it in this VHS box, and then I stuck it under my bed. I mean, under your bed, the first place any thief would look anyway. Yeah, and I worked and I worked and I worked, and I saved and I saved and I saved, and then came the day when I had enough money and I had to pick the package I wanted from the back of CVG magazine in the black and whites. And that itself was just exciting, you know. I had butterflies. I'm like, I've got the money, I can pick you, you know. I'm going to give the money to my parents, they're going to write me a check, I'm going to import a Megadrive, you know. And yeah, I just remember sitting there with a pen, like, it was such a difficult decision. And I remember in the end I opted for the pack that came with Batman packaged in the box that they obviously threw in. I have it now, Batman. Yeah, it's a really, really cool little mini reversed box. And yeah, so off went the check, and I had to wait for my my Japanese Megadrive, and it was so painful. It was so painful. You know, as a kid, you know that it's not coming the next day, but you would check the window every day to see the postman walk down, and you're like, oh, where is it, where is it, where is it? And it took weeks. And it came, and it was really weird and random, because I remember sitting at a chair and just looking out the living room window and seeing the postman come with this box. And I looked at it and just went, well, my parents don't order anything, you know. That's a big box. I don't know how big the box the Megadrive comes in, but that's a big box, you know. In fact, hang on, I'll show you the size of the box. Hang on a minute. Yeah, there's the box. I mean, the box alone evokes massive, massive memories for me, because obviously it wasn't out in this country when I actually received this, and then I've never received anything before, ever, as a kid, in Japanese. I mean, why would you? So it's just one of the coolest things ever. So yeah, I just remember him walking down the driveway with this thing, and my parents went and signed for it, and this was a great moment in my life as well, because it was, you know, you worked your ass off. I generally, to this day, am very happy the way I purchased my Megadrive, just because it was like, if you want something enough, you can get it. Yeah, and they came in with this package, and they said, this is for you, and they shoved it to me, and I tore off the wrapping, and there was my Megadrive. And I was just like, I just sat there staring at it, you know, happy as a pig, and crap. It was just utterly amazing. But the downside to the story is there was a tinsy-wincy bit of disappointment in it, because I remember ripping it open and going, where's my Batman? There's no Batman. And they sent me a note saying, due to Batman being pretty sort of popular and everyone wanting it, we couldn't give it to you, so we gave you Rastan Saga 2. Now, I was so disappointed at the time, but the minute I popped that cart in, it just went, it went away. I didn't care, you know. Rastan Saga 2 is not the greatest game in the world, but yeah, I was like, it was beyond anything I ever seen, you know. I had the Master System, I had a Spectrum, my mate had a NES, you know, I'd never seen anything like this, and I just remember the music being utterly amazing, this kind of acoustic-esque soundtrack. And I remember one of the first things I did was I called my buddy Sam, who had a NES, and always used to bust my balls about having a Master System, you know, saying yeah, you know, it doesn't have as good games, and just went, guess who's got a Megadrive, do you want to come over? And he came over and he spent the night, and yeah, we just played Rastan Saga 2, and it's not a particularly difficult game. We beat it again and again and again, and it was just, that's easily one of my greatest gaming memories ever. Would I change the fact that I wish it came with Batman? No, I wouldn't. Yeah, it was just utterly fantastic, you know. And the other interesting thing was then, which you don't get now, it always, shops were selling import games for Japanese Megadrives downtown, and it was weird. So I imported a load of my games from black and white adverts, but a lot of them I just went downtown and bought them when I went shopping with my mum. In fact, I'll show you a few of them. It was just utterly amazing that, you know, that back in the day, especially then, because obviously it's the very late 80s, that stores were selling import games. I mean, Forgotten Worlds, I picked that up in a local store. eSWAT, I picked that up in a local store. I think that was probably the first game I actually picked up outside of the game that came packaged with my Megadrive. And then you got Assault Suit Lanos. I picked this up, and I remember only paying 19 quid for this in, like, 1989, which is just absolutely amazing. I mean, I love that game, you know. Oh, and Herzog Zwei, I picked that up in the same store. So many great memories. It was so cool to be able to buy import games locally. And the funny thing is, right, I wasn't a retro sort of collector of systems and games until last year. And I was just watching YouTube and seeing people talk about the Megadrive, and I was watching a channel, Ian Wilson's channel, about Japanese Megadrives, and it just brought all these memories flooding back of my childhood. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to get a Japanese Megadrive. And then I came up with this really silly goal, which is I'm going to get every single game I had in my collection as a kid. And that's what that is behind me. And it's kind of fallen on the back burner on my channel, but it's still there. It's still there. And I'm one game short. One game short. Zero Wing. But yeah, the Japanese Megadrive to me is easily my favorite time of gaming ever in my life. And if I had to choose between gaming now and my Japanese Megadrive, ain't no contest. It's Japanese Megadrive. So yeah, I love the Megadrive. I love Sega, you know. Very, very fond, warm memories of just a great time in my life. So yeah, this was my response to Johnny's awesome video. Definitely, as I said, I'll put a link down below. I'm pretty sure I don't need to. Go and check it out. And thank you for watching. I'll see you later.